So the Knicks wrap up the road trip at 2-2, now 3-4 on the season, which, by the way, is the same record that they started last year with. But, Alan, for the second straight year, the Knicks were unable to get it done in crunch time. Second straight game, unable to get it done in crunch time, and they had a problem on the boards. Atlanta had 16 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, they got out-physicaled in Houston. They got out-hustled in this game because the Hawks really played this game hard. They're not a good defensive team. It showed in a lot of moments in this game. But they did play hard, and they've got length, and they threw a ton of it at the Knicks and Jalen Brunson. And where this game was lost was really on the offensive board. 16 turned into 27 second-chance points, and, of course, the points in the paint as well. And the Knicks turning the ball over early in the game was also a major issue. So a lot of the little fine-tuning things for the Knicks. But coming into this season, the two things that we talked about that were the concern, the bench scoring. You got 22 off the bench, still not nearly enough. But the other concern was rebounding. Would they still have the rebounding edge that they had all last season? Early in the season so far, Wally, that has not been the case. Karl-Anthony Towns is doing everything he can on the boards, but there's just not enough bigs right now to be there when he's not to get rebounds.
Yeah, they had a 5-point lead with a couple minutes to go. They have the more experienced team. They have all-stars on their team, closer in Jalen Brunson that normally is supposed to close that game out. They're still figuring things out down the stretch of games. They don't know where to be exactly, and it takes a little bit of time. You have to get into those crunch time moments. You got to figure out who's going to take shots when. Jalen Brunson is struggling a little bit now to get his shots up, unlike last year when he could get a shot whenever he wanted in the fourth quarter. He's thinking to himself, should I just do what I did last year, or should I defer to Karl-Anthony Towns a little bit because you have another unbelievable option that can close games also and has done it in the course of his career. They need to figure things out. You know, that Hawks team plays hard. Anytime you're at home, anytime you're on the road in this league and you have a lead in the last 5 minutes and you have a veteran team like the Knicks, you'll take it. You got to close the door. Mm-hmm. That's 2 games in a row. They have not closed the door when they were right there in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. That takes time.
When it comes to Brunson, we saw it in the Houston game. You called the game. You saw it yourself. We are seeing the league allowing more physicality against guards, against him and drives. Is that starting to have its effect? Because last year, he can get in the paint, couple pump fakes, get on the foul line. We're not seeing that, and we're seeing him as he's driving against length. He's not getting those balls.
He's going to be fine. He's just struggled a few games. He's looking around. He's got different teammates than he's used to. You know, guys need to figure out where Jalen Brunson wants them to be in crunch time moments. That's the hardest thing to figure out as a new team with new pieces, with new guys out there on the floor. To your point, what you brought up at the beginning, your first comment, there are some alarming issues with this team. Defensively, you're not supposed to be letting the Atlanta Hawks that are down 2 major rotation guys score 121 points, dominate you on the boards. Tom Thibodeau is not happy about those stats, 100%, no question. But this team is super skilled. They gave themselves a chance to win this game. They need to figure out how to close games, especially on the road in the last 5 minutes.
All right, Wally, so Brunson took only 3 fourth-quarter shots, finished with 3 points in the fourth quarter. The Knicks, in the game you called, were outscored 9-0 down the stretch. And in this game, you mentioned the Knicks were up 5 with 2:46 to go, and Atlanta won the last 2:46, 16-6.
Yep, and that's because Jalen Brunson he's not being Mr. Clutch like he was last year. I don't know whether he's thinking too much about should I be getting the ball to the other guys because I have a lot of other options and weapons out there. But
the length here is unbelievable.
I know, the length is huge. And, you know, Knicks that was a nice little play. We were almost going to diagram that. That's where they took the
2-point lead.
Yeah, 2 points.
This makes it 5.
5-point lead. Yeah. That's where we thought the Knicks were, you know, going to just run away with this.
Right. 3 minutes to go, or under 3, and you're up 5.
Win that challenge.
Yeah.
Which is huge. But then this happens. Corner 3, leave them open.
That was a big shot.
Yes. Huge. And Daniels knocks that down. And then this is just bad defense, right, Well?
Yeah.
Like,
that was a trap. This guy cuts, makes a nice shot, tie game. Yep, 1-point game. If you miss hard, through the corner, the Hawks are going to steal points. And if you can get transition baskets in the last 5 minutes of an NBA basketball game, that is like candy. And the Knicks are grinding the score in the fourth, and that's the difference.
22 made threes, by the way, for the Knicks, tied for the second most threes they've ever made in the game. But now look at points in the paint. You mentioned the rebounding situation. especially with the issues for the Knicks. Preventing
48-41 doesn't look as bad.
But 58-36 points in the paint.
Huge. Yeah, that's a big part of it. And another team shooting a high percentage in the painted area against you, it goes to, again, the questions about the amount of length that you have on this team, and is it enough? Because you have Karl-Anthony Towns, and then you have other guys that are 6'7". Like, you don't have enough size maybe around, and teams are going in the paint. And you saw a couple of those boards that they just go right over the top and grab them from you. So offensively, 49% shooting, the threes that they're putting up, offensively, there's no concerns here. It's defense, rebounding, and depth right now. Those are the concerns.
All right, guys, let us say hello to Monica McNutt. She helped call the game on the radio tonight, ESPN New York. Monica, great to have you on as always. What do you think?
I feel like I'm left with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
After both of these games, frankly, I get it. We're in the NBA of shooting threes, and I love that for everybody personally as a shooter, right? Let them fly. But I'm struggling with the idea that you give up 58 points in the paint and allow a team to hit 15 threes. Like, I thought this was supposed to be pick your poison. So I've got some real questions. I literally was talking to Tyler on the radio and Pat O'Keefe in our postgame show, like, bad sign, bad games? I have questions regarding these two. But I will say this in terms of the play down the stretch, and this one, the last 2 minutes of the ball game, the play where the block by Karl-Anthony Towns gets overturned is a big momentum play. The Knicks come down, they have an opportunity to score. Karl-Anthony Towns has done a great job in terms of exploiting his mismatch to that point. He has a corner three, guys, that to me, from seeing it from behind him, unfortunately, he's not balanced, he's not poised, he's fading away on that shot. Credit this Hawks defense that was flying around, that's fine. But to me, his pump fake have been working all night, and if you stand in and get the shot blocked, it's tipped, you have a chance to recover it. But that was the missed shot that led to the big-time pace play when Clint Capella connects with Trae Young on the other end. And this arena, y'all, that felt like a momentum blow that the Knicks just were unable to come back from.
Yeah, you could sense it. It felt like the Knicks were about to take control, and then that just turned in a dime, and all of a sudden the momentum had gone completely the other way. Now, and Wally was just talking about it, Monica, we were so used to this last year with Jalen Brunson making big plays in the fourth quarter, winning plays, clutch plays in the last 5 minutes. And these last couple of games, it looks like when he gets to the fourth quarter, he has really struggled to get to his spot, to get to his shots. And when he does take the shots, he has not made them. What are you seeing with his game right now, late in games?
So my first thought is it is a byproduct of the absence of depth right now. We said at one point on the broadcast, I haven't quite figured out Tibbs's rotation, which we understood when Jalen was going to take his breaks last year. Because of the injuries, it feels like it's a little bit more shuffled. But to me, the first thing that I think of when it comes late is that the starters are still playing monster minutes. That will be helped when Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, Cameron Payne are healthy. And so I think there's optimism there. But beyond that, guys, like, Dyson Daniels is one of the best defenders in the league. And in Houston, Fred VanVleet took the matchup personally. When it was Amin Thompson, he took the matchup personally. Like, these are really good defenders that Jalen Brunson is seeing as of late, which to me, I'm in my head like, well, this was the whole point of Karl-Anthony Towns, right? And so I do think that we have to be reminded, as much as we have energy coming off of a game, this is now 7 games in, and we're watching in real time this team figure out chemistry in clutch basketball. I think it's different to figure out chemistry when you're rolling in Miami, when you're rolling in Detroit. It's another thing to figure out chemistry in clutch basketball.
No question, those last 5 minutes, it's something the Knicks really have to figure out. But, Monica, what's going on with the defense? Giving up 121 points, no Bogdanovich, no DeAndre Hunter. Knicks have to get back to their defensive identity, don't you think?
Wally, I was, like, mystified by the amount of what looked like open threes, frankly. And so I don't know. Like, I'm watching it and I'm thinking, were Robinson and Hartenstein anchors in a way that allowed everybody else, I don't even want to say to gamble, but to contest more diligently? Like, I'm confused as to why it feels like the defense has shrunk. But I can't say that it's shrunk in a way that has protected the paint when you give up 58 points in the paint. And so I just, tonight in Houston, to me, you were out-athleted. I know that's not a word. Bear with me, English folks.
It is.
But you had 2 younger squads that were athletic, that are very clear in how they're playing basketball. Whether you like it or not, or whether you believe it's going to be winning basketball come April, both of them want to run up and down the floor. And I think when you let a team run up and down the floor, one, they get confident, and meanwhile, it's eating at your legs. And so to me, that is probably the through line in these last 2 losses.